Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday message. Gosh, for July 19th. So today we are going to be discussing Chapter 7 of the book Lessons in Truth by H. Emily Cady, where she discusses the difference between personality and individuality, the difference between who we appear to be and who we truly are. So Katie teaches that every human being lives between two identities. One identity is temporary, changing, and rooted in appearances. The other is eternal, divine, and rooted in God. She calls the first one personality, and the second one our individuality. And she states that the purpose of a spiritual growth is not merely to become a better personality, it's to awaken and express our divine individuality. And in the book, she describes the personality as the outer self, the part of us we show to the world. And that includes our likes and our dislikes, our fears and desires, our social identity, our reputation, our possessions, our accomplishments, and even our failures. The personality is what most people mean when they say, "This is who I am." And yet our personality is constantly changing. As children, we have one personality, as teenagers, another, as young adults, another. And of course, as we mature through life, all of that changes. Our circumstances change, our opinions change, our appearance changes, our social status changes. Everything connected to personality is subject to change. The problem arises when we mistake personality for our true identity. So just imagine an actor becoming so absorbed in a role that he forgets who he truly is. The role may be a tragic one or heroic one, he may be rich or poor, but regardless of the role, the actor remains someone greater than the character being portrayed. And likewise, we can become so identified with these human roles that we forget our spiritual identity. When we're asked the question of who we are, so many times we say, "I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a grandmother, grandfather. I'm a volunteer at this organization or that organization. I'm a retired teacher, I'm a retired postal worker, I'm a retired this or that. I'm the secretary of this organization or that organization." But these statements describe experiences, not identity. They describe conditions, not essence. The personality can become a prison when we believe this is all that we are. And this is why people can achieve success, love their jobs, come home, and still feel empty. The personality may be celebrated while the soul inside remains really hungry. The personality may receive applause while the heart remains longing for something more. The personality may gain the world and still lose awareness of its divine origin. Now, Jesus described this condition when he asked, "What shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" The soul longs for something deeper than personal achievement. It longs to remember its source. So the personality has limitations. If people praise us, we feel valuable. If they criticize us, we feel wounded. If circumstances favor us, we feel secure. If circumstances change, we feel threatened. The personality is unstable because it bases identity on things that are temporary. So, just consider how much energy people spend protecting an image. They fear rejection, they fear embarrassment, they fear failure, they fear not messing up. And most of human anxiety comes from defending a personality that was never meant to be foundation of our life. The personality can ask, what do others think of me? The individuality asks, what does God know to be true about me? The personality seeks approval, and the individuality seeks expression. The personality competes in the world, and the individuality creates. The personality compares itself to others, and the individuality looks for and fulfills its unique purpose. When we live primarily through personality, we can become trapped in endless striving, and no achievement is enough. No matter how much we have, we still want more. No recognition is enough. No success is enough. The soul keeps whispering, there is more. So what is individuality? According to Katie, individuality is the divine self. It's the spiritual identity created by God. It's the image and likeness of the Creator expressed uniquely through each person. Individuality is not ego. It's not self-centeredness. It's not arrogance. True individuality is the God-given uniqueness of every soul. Just as no two snowflakes are identical, no two expressions of God are identical. Each person reveals a different aspect of divine life. You might have one person who shows compassion with everything. Another has this amazing wisdom inside of them. One person may be the most courageous person you know, yet another is extremely creative. Someone may have a gift for healing, yet someone else is joyful no matter what the circumstances. Every person reflects the same divine source through a unique channel. This is individuality. Unlike personality, individuality does not change with circumstances. It remains constant because it is rooted in God itself, in Source itself. You know, jobs can come and go. Relationships change. We all know these bodies, we all definitely know these bodies change. Seasons pass, but the divine essence remains. The individuality is the eternal self. It's the spiritual reality behind every human experience. It is what God created before fear, failure, guilt, limitation entered our human consciousness. When scripture says we are created in God's image, it's speaking about our individuality because the image of God is not physical, it's spiritual. It's the divine nature expressing itself through human life. If we look at the life of Jesus, no one demonstrated the difference between personality and individuality more clear than he did. Jesus lived in a physical body. The accounts say he experienced hunger, fatigue, temptation, sorrow, yet he consistently identified with his divine nature. Again and again, he declared his unity with the Father. No matter what was going on around him, he did not allow circumstances to define him. He didn't allow public opinion to define him or allow criticism to define him. He knew who he was, and that certainty gave him extraordinary power. Notice that Jesus never acted from insecurity. He never needed to prove himself. He never competed for significance. He simply expressed the divine life within him. And this is the pattern for spiritual living. We are being called to move beyond personality consciousness into God consciousness. There are bracelets and other things out there that read the word WWJD, what would Jesus do? Yet the goal is not to imitate Jesus externally. The goal is to awaken the same spiritual awareness that Jesus embodied. And as we do that, our lives become channels through which divine love, wisdom, and power can flow. One of the most beautiful truths in this lesson is that individuality does not need to be created. It only needs to be recognized. There are diamonds underneath this earth. And no matter how far down underneath the earth, they are a diamond. It doesn't, its value doesn't disappear because it's hidden. Its truth, it doesn't disappear because we don't see it. And it's the same with our divine individuality. That remains intact regardless of how long it's been covered by fear or jealousy or whatever, or just our not being aware of it. Some people spend years believing they are unworthy. Others believe they are incapable. Some believe they're permanently damaged by the past mistakes they made. But in God's view of them, never changes. The divine image remains intact, no matter what we've done. The spiritual essence remains, the individuality remains. So the spiritual journey then is a journey of awakening. It's not about becoming something new. It's about discovering what has always been true about yourself. This realization transforms everything. So instead of asking, how can I become worthy? We begin asking, how can I express the worthiness already planted within me? So instead of asking, how can I earn God's love? We begin asking, how can I receive and share the love that's already been given to me? Instead of trying to manufacture goodness, we allow divine goodness to flow through us. So how do we live from individuality rather than personality? First and foremost, we must learn to listen to the inner voice. The world is constantly trying to tell us who we should be. Advertisements tell us, social media tells us, culture tells us, even well-meaning people tell us. But the individuality emerges when we learn to hear God's guidance within. This is where prayer, meditation, silence becomes essential. Not because God is different, but because noise often prevents us from hearing. Then we must learn to release the false labels we've placed on ourselves. Many people carry labels for decades. I'm shy, I'm broken, I'm unlucky, I'm not gifted, I'm a failure. But those are only one avenue of labels that we hold about ourselves. What about the ones we hold to by the things we have done or accomplished in this world? I'm the retired CEO of such and such company. I'm a retired teacher. I served in the military for 30 years. Even I'm a grandmother or grandfather. These labels belong to personality. They do not belong to individuality. The divine self cannot be defined by limitation. When we begin to release the labels, we create room for truth. Then we have to begin practicing expressing our own unique divine qualities. The individuality grows stronger through expression. Love grows through loving, faith grows through trusting, wisdom grows through listening, compassion grows through serving. The divine nature becomes more visible as it is lived. One of the greatest blessings of individuality is freedom. When we know who we are in God, we become less dependent on external validation. Praise no longer controls us. Criticism no longer destroys us. Success no longer defines us. Failure no longer imprisons us. our identity becomes anchored in something eternal, and it is this freedom that allows us to move more deeply. People who are trapped in personality often relate to others through fear. They fear rejection, they fear comparison, they fear vulnerability. But individuality is secure. It knows its source. Therefore, it can give freely. It can forgive freely. It can serve freely. It can bless freely. And this is spiritual maturity. It's the movements from self-protection to self-expression. You know, in this day and age, our world desperately needs this message. We live in a culture obsessed with personality. Image almost matters more than character. Visibility matters more than substance. Followers almost matter more than faithfulness. But God is not looking for impressive personalities. God is looking for willing channels. This world does not need more ego. It needs more divine expression. It needs people who know their identity in God, people who are grounded in truth, who radiate love, who live with courage, who express wisdom, who embody peace. These qualities arise naturally when individuality becomes dominant with each and every one of us. The central message of this chapter on personality and individuality is both very simple and revolutionary. You are more than your personality. You are more than your history. You are more than your successes. You are definitely more than your failures. And what about what others think of you? You are so much more than what anyone else can think about you. At the deepest level of your being lives a divine individuality created in the image and likeness of God. That individuality is whole, it's loved, it's powerful, it's wise, it's eternal. The spiritual life is the process of allowing that divine reality to shine through every thought, every word, every action. To do this, we stop identifying with limitation. We stop defending the false self, and we awaken to the truth of who we are. So I ask, may our lives become clear expressions of the divine individuality that God has placed within each of us. Because when individuality shines, the world sees not merely a human personality, but the living presence of God expressed through a willing soul. And that is who you are. And so it is. So thank you for being here today, and God bless each and every one of you. Take care.